Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post Live is of course, a forum for you to come and participate in. So come in via social media, use Twitter, hashtag India Post Live to your tweets, or use our Twitter handle at India Post Live. You can use Facebook. We have a Facebook page called India Post Live. Go like it, comment on it, post pictures or any commentary that you want to do over there. And in case you want to come in onto this show, you can go to indiapostlive.com, where you can watch this live as we're talking to you right now. And in case you're watching this later, there are a host of other videos for you to check out, so go check them out, and there's a wall for you to comment on as well, and you can comment, and in case you want to, you can even send us a participation request and come in via Skype and Google Hangouts. So it's up to you, come participate. The issue that we're talking about today is about Mahatma Gandhi and the new Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and what is the common link between them? Well, social media seems to be emerging as one, because Narendra Modi plans to have a major campaign around the Mahatma's 150th birth anniversary celebrations on Facebook, on social media. So what is all this, and is this appropriation of the Mahatma's legacy? We'll be discussing that, but first let's take you through the story.
It was a courtesy call by Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it did turn out to be fruitful for both sides. The meeting focused on how the new government can use the social media site for better interface between people and the government. Modi also wants to make a gala show of Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birthday for social media and will seek cooperation from Facebook as well. As long as Modi was Chief Minister of Gujarat, he strongly portrayed himself as the savior of Gujarat, along the lines of Sardar Patel, the Iron Man of India. But with him firmly seated in Delhi's 7 Racecourse Road now, it's time he used digital diplomacy to reach Mahatma Gandhi. Will it just be limited to Gandhi and his 150th birth celebrations? Or is it the beginning of the appropriation of Mahatma's legacy by Modi?
इन दिनों सोशल मीडिया की ताकत बहुत बड़ी है। फेसबुक में महात्मा गांधी की एक तस्वीर भेजी। महात्मा गांधी की उस तस्वीर में महात्मा गांधी सूक्ष्मदर्शक यंत्र को देख रहे हैं। ये तस्वीर हम लोगों ने देखी है, बचपन में कई अखबारों में, किताबों में भी होती है, लेकिन वो सोशल मीडिया में जो नौजवान होते हैं उनका दिमाग बड़ा तेज काम करता है। उसने लिखा था कि महात्मा गांधी सूक्ष्मदर्शक यंत्र में हिंदुस्तान का रुपया खोज रहे हैं और खुद की तस्वीर कहां गई वो ढूंढ रहे हैं।
All right, so the Prime Minister certainly believes in the power of social media. In fact, in the first message that he sent out as Prime Minister, he emphasized on the use of social media to engage with citizens. But what about the Mahatma's legacy? We'll be discussing that with Dr. Ijaz Ilmi. He's a senior member of the BJP. Thank you very much for coming in, sir. Also, Shahzad Poonawalla is with us. Shahzad is, of course, a member of the Congress and has been actively working with the party for some time now. Sanjeev Singh is a consulting editor at India Post Live. He joins us via Google Hangout. Thanks very much for coming in, Sanjeev. But Shahzad, I'll start with you. Opening statement as far as the Mahatma and Modi are concerned.
See, I always knew that Mr. Modi is confused about history because he calls Chandragupta Maurya to be a part of the Gupta dynasty. I didn't know that he would be confused about his own sense of legacy. Today, it's kind of amusing that a person who belongs to the RSS, those who in their hearts have carried the legacy of Godse, have Gandhi on their lips. Those who orchestrated, celebrated and rejected the idea of Gandhi right from their inception as RSS, today want to appropriate the legacy of Gandhiji, which was completely antithetical to what RSS stands for even today, which is the creation of a Hindu Rashtra against the ideas of a plural Indian democracy. Be that as it may, there is nothing new that what Mr. Modi is proposing, nothing gigantic also. However, I welcome it. But you must understand that from the day that Gandhiji passed away, the Indian government has done as much as it could, whether it was coming up with Sabarmati Ashram, where 7 lakh visitors are visiting every day. Just last, I'll tell you some things we did just in the last 6 months. We had a Gandhi Heritage Site mission identifying over 2,000 sites where Gandhiji spent time in India, South Africa and other places. Those were conserved and managed. Gopal Gandhi is a part of that. Thereafter, it was recommended that there should be a portal. So there was a Gandhi Heritage portal on which all the original collected works of Gandhiji in English, Hindi and Gujarati were uploaded, and that's become a brilliant source for historians and other people who want to know about Gandhi. There are two things about Gandhi, not just the tangible heritage, like his specs, his chappals, the way places he went to, but the intangible heritage of Gandhi, which is his ideas, his views and his thoughts. That's more important. And what has Mr. Modi done to preserve them? And the single most telling answer to that is what he did in 2002. Had there been a Gandhian philosophy in Mr. Modi, 2002 would not have witnessed the murder of innocent citizens in his state. That is the telling statement of how much he has actually appropriated Gandhiji's legacy. Doing one-off event or celebrating something on Facebook, I think it speaks for itself what his real intentions
All
are.
right, Dr. Ilmi, of course, has a contrarian point of view.
No, absolutely. I still believe that brevity is the spice of life, and this long-winded discourse that I've just heard from my friend Shehzad, and linking it to 2002 and elections and what they've done or what they've not done, anything that we do will remain less as far as Gandhiji is concerned. And venerating Mahatma Gandhi and his struggle for independence and the fact that we are a free nation today, anything done is less. Whatever can be done should be done, and even more and more. And identifying social media, the exponential rise of social media and its outreach beyond barriers and beyond confines globally is something, and linking that with his celebrations of 150 years, I think it's a wonderful thing that has to be celebrated, welcomed, and venerating Gandhi in India itself. And anybody opposed to this veneration is, I think, being specious, hypocritical, and playing a low level of politics. Secondly, the outreach of social media and Facebook and Twitter is to be acknowledged. That's the demographic dividend of young India. A lot of young Indians are on Facebook and Twitter. So linking it and Gandhi's celebrations and his legacy and his struggle and the fact that we are a free nation, putting it on Facebook and actually giving it being a driving force is something to be welcomed. All the opposition that you talked about at Gandhi's legacy philosophy, nobody can appropriate Gandhi's legacy. Gandhi's legacy is the nation itself, and no individual or a political party can lay claim to his legacy because he's beyond individuals and political parties.
All right, Sanjeev, just from a neutral perspective, I mean, this is a pattern with Narendra Modi. I mean, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel might have banned the RSS, but in the Lok Sabha election of 2014, I mean, he was one of the strongest symbols for the BJP. So, do we see Mahatma Gandhi also getting a little bit of a saffron tinge now?
Well, I mean, it's there for everyone to see, because, I mean, if you look at what Modi said last year when he was still the Gujarat Chief Minister, he talked about building the Statue of Unity, but so far, nothing has happened. He wanted it to be bigger than the Statue of Liberty in America. So we've seen these kind of promises being made by Narendra Modi in the past also. But as far as the question of, Mahatma Gandhi being on the internet space is concerned, I think both are to blame as much, if you were to say, because, the Congress has had, they've been in power for 10 years. They could have easily done something where, where Modi would have not needed to do such a thing. But what we've seen is that Narendra Modi, realizing the factor that, he somehow needs to get into that mainline space away from, the so-called right-wing perception that people have about him. So he's very particular about that. So he thinks that, this is a perfect opportunity where he can actually take, Mahatma Gandhi online in a big way. And in that sense, perhaps himself also move somewhere into the mainstream, away from the right-wing politics that, he's been so far perceived to be doing.
All right, would you agree with that? I mean, there is a attempt to reach out to a larger, wider audience. I mean, be it through social media or be it through other
The fact is that in the recent elections, and democracy is the solution for that. In the recent elections, we've seen 8 crore more Indians vote for the NDA and the BJP dispensation, giving it an exponential jump from 19% to 40% if you combine the entire NDA vote share. It just shows that in this country we are a secular democracy, and we have a constitutional safeguard to our Indianness. There is a larger issue. Once you're addressing the nation, you have to think of these things on a larger platform. And that's where Mr. Modi is coming from. You have to understand that there are all kinds of people. And throughout the campaign, the BJP said that we are intent to give equal opportunity, equal and hopes and aspirations to every Indian citizen and not divide them on the basis of denominations of caste, creed, color and religion. So that it's called talking about everybody. If everybody's lot improves and the nation's lot improves, then the nation grows as a whole.
But
that's the whole idea.
Isn't there,
Yes.
the attempt of an image makeover, is it not that?
It's an attempt of a lot of young Indians are not really in sync or don't really know much about Mahatma Gandhi. And Facebook and Twitter and the social media platforms, which have immense reach beyond boundaries, are the ones where the real space is of giving. You're giving space to the father of the nation and venerating the father of the nation in this space. So I think that's a very welcome sign.
Shehzad?
Yeah, so I just want to say that with utmost respect towards Sanjeev, I highlighted what the government did not just in the last 6 years but even the last few months, and even the most important schemes of the last government, whether it was Narega, it was named after Mahatma Gandhi, Narega scheme. So they always gave the due importance, but perhaps we can always differ on these points of view whether more could have been done or not. I would request all the viewers to go on the Gandhi Heritage Portal. It was launched last year. It was dedicated by Manmohan Singh ji, the Prime Minister, to the nation. Please go and take a look on how much social media and these platforms are used. That is also there in the public domain. I agree with my friend Ijaz. Brevity. Three questions to Ijaz Ilmi, who's trying to give us a lot of motherly statements here. Gandhi ji, putting him on Facebook and Twitter is not the important thing. How much of his legacy and values do you want to inculcate in the Indian diaspora and life? So here are the three questions to Ijaz Ilmi. First of all, if you feel that Gandhi ji is such a loved figure, do you know RSS till date has not condemned the death of Gandhi ji? In fact, they celebrated the release of Gopal Godse, the younger brother of Nathuram Godse, in Mumbai in 1964. I have the facts. Nathuram Godse was a member of the RSS. He cannot deny that. So will Ijaz Ilmi, as the member of the BJP, reject RSS's views on Gandhi ji? What they called him back then, they used to call him a Pakistani supporter in those days. Today also they've never condemned his death. Leaders like MS Golwalkar of the RSS, and Ijaz Ilmi may be treading a fine path if he takes on these leaders of the RSS. They used to go around in public meetings, they distributed sweets. This has been recorded in Vallabhbhai Patel's letters, 6th May 1948, that RSS leaders were distributing sweets when Gandhiji was killed. Now, I am very confused. Is what Ijaz Ilmi saying the right thing or what RSS advocates the right thing? So can Ijaz Ilmi, for all of us sitting here, maybe we are uninformed, tell us what is the position of the RSS and condemn the RSS for distributing sweets, participating and celebrating Godses and attacking Mr. Gandhi. If he does that, then I'm ready to believe that he's serious about Gandhiji's legacy.
Not only me, let me tell you, we just had an election where this entire propaganda was played out every day by every single Congress
Elections
worker,
are not an
Congress
answer.
leader. They spoke
One
about
second,
sweets,
Ijaz.
they spoke about RSS.
One second, Ijaz.
You have been rejected lock, stock and
Ijaz,
barrel by
the problem
community
is-
at large.
the problem
so
is-
at some stage you have to back off and understand this
You are not doing it,
This
but-
propaganda cannot continue.
So why don't you
had it?
clarify?
You had it prior to
Clarify
elections.
it.
You were decimated.
Clarify.
Like Germany decimated Brazil. You've been decimated by the voters, by the polity. Accept it. Get on with nation building
An electoral result-
and contributing, please.
I am confused. An electoral result is the answer of...
Dr. Manmohan
You are
Singh-
not letting me complete. So you are behaving exactly like Godse again. You are not being tolerant at all.
I'm totally tolerant to your views.
Then let me make my
I respect
point.
you as a friend
Let
and
me make my point.
as a fellow panelist.
One by one.
Let me make my point.
Yes, absolutely.
Ijaz Ilmi, you have to realize that electoral results are not the answer for everything. I am asking you, as a spokesperson and a member and a senior member of the BJP,
Yes.
to reject the parts of history where RSS ganged
There
up
is an
against Mr. Gandhi.
uncomfortable
Can you
history.
do
There
that?
is an
Yes or no?
uncomfortable
Do
history,
it.
Dr.
Forget what
Ijaz.
I am conceding that we got thrashed in elections. That is not an answer to this. Your answer to this should be that yes, I reject what RSS's propaganda was about Gandhi. Please say it. Say it.
What has the RSS said? Have you read Ram Madhav's statement?
I'll show you statements.
He's
Do you
spoken
want to
about
see?
it. He's spoken
I'll
about
show you.
125 crore Indians.
I'll show you.
inclusivity. They've
I'll
talked
show you.
about the ills plaguing
I'll
this
show you what
country
RSS has
of
said.
building India. And in this country,
I'll show you what
if
RSS has said.
cannot talk about Hindus,
Okay, okay.
then in which country will they talk about?
I'll
Let's
show
be
you
very
what
clear
RSS
on that. Yes.
Sanjeev wanted to come in. Sanjeev, go ahead.
See, I mean, we're not going to get further into the conversation if we let both Shehzad and Ijaz, bounce with each other. It's very brave of someone like Ijaz to come and defend the BJP on this forum. We all, we all accept that. Of course, we will not get into the kind of relations that sort of confusion and doublespeak has always been there within the BJP between what the RSS says and what Modi wants to do, or what Atal Bihari Vajpayee wanted to do during the NDA regime. But the fact is that the whole the power of social media that we're seeing, and we've seen Modi, always never giving up as far as this new medium is concerned, and that's why he wants to soar above his other, opponents.
But
And
why this emphasis on social media, Sanjay? What do you make of it? I mean, does he really believe that it gets translated into votes, or does mainstream media pick up from social media now? Why the emphasis on social media?
If you just look at the new voters that have been added into India, right from 2009 onwards, so the number of votes added from 2009 till the 2014 elections, and you will get a corresponding figure of the number of extra votes that the BJP has polled.
Yes.
I'm not saying that both are proportionate to each other, but there is a sort of linkage between the two, because people who come on social media are young people, who are about 15, 20 years old. They may not have an idea of history as we have, and the sense of perspective that one develops over a period of time with experience. So that is the whole, that is, these are the people that Narendra Modi has reached out through his social platforms, and by celebrating this 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi, he is just hoping that he can breach into that gap that what Shehzad has been talking about, and try and give himself that image that he's also one of those leaders who understands what mainstream politics is all about, and move away from the perception of being just a Hindutva poster boy to someone who can accommodate all sections of society.
But see, what Sanjeev is constantly saying, and I agree with him, is that he is more concerned about the optics or the perception of this. My only question is that, of course, there's no doubt about the fact that Modi has won 280 seats. There's no doubt about the fact that there are a large number of social media followers that Modi has and can reach out to. The question is that if today Hitler was alive and he started running a campaign for Jewish culture on social media, do you think anybody will buy it? The point is that if you have an umbilical cord with RSS, and I'll quote you a statement of the RSS leader of that time. He says, Golwalkar says, that if they, means Muslims who are allowed to stay here, their responsibility will be of the governments and the Hindu community would not be responsible. Mahatma Gandhi cannot mislead them any longer. We have the means whereby our opponents, he refers to Gandhi, can be immediately silenced. He made another inflammatory speech that leaders of Congress should be assassinated, and thereafter Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated. That's why RSS was banned. That's why Patel wrote that you all have created a culture and an atmosphere of violence which led to Gandhiji's death. These facts are undeniable. All I am saying is Mr. Modi wants to celebrate Gandhi. Well, he did not show me a reason in 2002 by following Gandhian principles. I am saying at least now show me the evidence that you will reject this culture and propaganda against Gandhiji that was circulated by RSS. Show that to me.
Dr. Ilmi, at the end of the day, I mean, history is always vexed, and history is often viewed from very different perspective, and everybody
totally
has
agree
their
with
own
you.
version of
Yes,
history.
yes.
But at the end of the day, there are certain inherent contradictions. What we're seeing right now, is it that the BJP or Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of the BJP government has completely moved beyond as far as the vexed issues of history are concerned, and we're trying to establish a new history through social media, through other forms of communication, an alternate narrative?
There are diverse political formations, diverse social groupings, right wing, right of center, centrist, left of center. I mean, all this is ultimately encompassed in the fact that as a nation, it goes beyond these things. And if you are the leader of the nation and democratically elected leader, you have to go beyond these narratives, and you have to celebrate the fact that being an Indian and the Gandhiji's struggles for independence, obviously it's relevant today because a lot of Indians are struggling. 33% of them are below the poverty line. It calls for inculcating a sense of values. It's never too late, I would say, and you can't do enough to propagate Gandhism in this country.
I want to just end with the fact that Ijaz advocated brevity in answers, yet he did not give us even one direct answer to a single question that you and I posed to him. It clearly shows that he wants to hide more than he wants to say, and I think that it speaks for itself.
I'm not saying that. You're saying that.
It speaks for itself. When you have an uneasy history, your present is also uneasy. That's what has been evident from Ijaz's discourse today.
I just want to say one thing. If you continue to stay trapped in history, you cannot do anything for the future. And Gandhiji has a quote on this. You must go and look up Gandhi's Gandhiji's quote that you stay trapped in the past, you can do nothing about the future. So the present is important and the future is important, but don't get off the baggage, your historical baggage, your optical vision, which is narrowed, and from a narrowed perspective, you have to have a wider holistic view as an Indian, and that's what
History is the greatest teacher, and let history not haunt you. That's all I can say.
All right, we'll come back and discuss history. But Sanjeev, as far as Narendra Modi is concerned, and just going into a little bit of the history of the BJP itself, I mean, you've had instances in the past where if a senior leader of the BJP, even the likes of LK Advani or Atal Bihari Vajpayee, I mean, even at the height of power, if they sort of left that core identity behind, somewhere down the line, it damaged them. Can we see that happening with Narendra Modi as well? I mean, is he going too far out of his comfort zone, of his established identity to establish a new one?
See, Narendra Modi is not looking at these issues at all. He wants to create a brand or a name for himself that that will live for the next 50 years, 100 years. History is always written by rulers, so he wants to be one of those rulers who rewrites history. I mean, if you talk about Ashoka the Great, does anyone know his name? We don't know his name. I mean, you can look up history books. It will be very tough for you to find what his actual name was, because he rewrote all the books and he is called Ashoka the Great. So Narendra Modi is in that format. He wants to rewrite history. And that is why you see, I mean, when it came to Gujarat, we saw how he appropriated the legacy of Sardar Patel. And of course, the OBC tag with it, which helped him reap electoral benefits. So my only concern is that, we've seen what he's done with Sardar Patel. So the Congress better be careful and, watch out, because if he's going to celebrate 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi, then he definitely has a plan up his sleeve. And if you're not careful, then slowly, you will see Narendra Modi and Mahatma Gandhi being talked in perhaps the same, sentence or the same paragraph in the days to come.
Well, I can only see that they can be spoken in one way, and that would be an antithesis. So I don't think there would be any other way.
All right, well, final questions. I'll start with you, Dr. Ilmi. Yes. As far as this entire effort is concerned, I mean, everybody wants to celebrate the legacy of the Mahatma, but is social media enough? I mean, at the end of the day, just a campaign on social media on the ground, is the government planning a major push?
What has Mr. Modi done in the last 12 years in Gujarat? That also should be asked.
Well, that was asked during elections, and
No. Again,
you got a resounding answer.
You go back to elections.
You got a resounding answer.
I've told you there's no direct answers happening here today.
And decimation in terms of numbers.
That's your answer to what you did for Gandhiji's legacy in the last 12 years.
I'm actually going to wrap it now. The voters showed you that is propaganda.
Come on, Ijaz. I know you're not believing
You have to
this.
move on from this propaganda. Elections are over, my dear friend.
I asked you a question. I never spread any propaganda. I asked you, what did you do in the last 12 years in Gujarat as CM of Gandhi state? What did he do?
You asked this question for the last.
I told you what my government did. What did your
government do? You asked
government
during the entire campaign, this question was asked.
No, nobody asked.
And you got an answer again and again. And the elections are over, you have to move on. You have to be a constructive opposition. You can't be
basically you did
in the past.
No, but the
Basically
question
did
is, I'm
nothing.
just saying that is social media too easy an option to say that something, I'm running a Facebook campaign and I can run it from my home, but on the ground, is nothing done, is nothing planned?
It's the identification of young India with the social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, which is very, very evident and important to understand. And anybody, I mean, obviously, you have to understand that as a leader, as a Prime Minister and a leader of Bharatiya Janata Party, which has got the largest number of votes in this last election, you have to understand it's a constant effort to reach out to as many number of people, and the young India, these young voters today could be the young leaders of tomorrow. So identifying with them, reaching out to them, and giving them inculcating a sense of India's legacy, which is synonymous with Gandhi's legacy. It's very important to understand that you reach out, you identify, and if somebody agrees with your views, they'll come back to you. They'll come back to you.
So,
it is an outreach, important outreach, linked with the historical perspective, which is synonymous with India.
All right, on that note, I'll wrap this discussion up. Thank you very much for coming in, Sanjeev, Shehzad and Dr. Ilmi. It was a pleasure having you all on the show. And that's it in a little presentation. What do you think about this entire issue of history and narratives being rewritten or not rewritten? As Winston Churchill once famously said that history will always view me kindly because I intend to write it. So let's see if we're going down that path. On that note, we'll wrap up. Thanks so much for watching.